Right, how we go? How is it? How we doing? Good morning, everybody. Let's get things to shuffle around here. Up here. Okay. All right. So hello, everyone. Oh, I'm gonna have to put up something to block the sun. Let me do that before I get going. Okay. It is that time of year where, at this time of day, the sun comes in perfectly through the windows and bounces right off the floor over there and right into my eyeballs. So my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord. We're working on CircuitPython stuff. In particular, we're picking up pretty much where we left off last night. Trying to, the ultimate goal is to make changes to the DisplayIO API in the core. But most specifically right now, we're working on setting the currently showing thing to none, to basically show nothing, and trying to fix a hard fault that results in. I never did set up the camera. I guess let's do that part. And once I get the camera turned on, you'll see that I think we're going to take it in a slightly different direction than I was thinking yesterday. Hopefully going to end up in the same place, which is understanding what led to the hard fault. But I might thinking about trying it out on a different device. How's it going, C. Grover? Good morning. Bit better, I'm sure. So yesterday I was working with Feather TFT. Makes a convenient device because it does have a screen built in. But I don't know how to debug with it. So this guide is the only kind of like very, very low-level learn guide that shows the debugging process in very basic steps. Even this is pretty advanced as far as learn guides go. But it is basic enough that I can follow along with it. I have done it before. This is targeted at SAMD21, but I suspect we're going to be able to do roughly the same thing with SAMD51 on a Adafruit Metro, and the convenient part about this is it has this connector, which is what we need to plug the debugging thing into. I suspect these pins might be made available here. In particular, I don't know that I could focus on it any better, but this bottom pin here in the very corner, that's the one, right? Yeah, that one's labeled debug, DBG. I would assume that this has something to do with debugging, but I don't know the rest of the pinout. I don't know how to hook up the debugger, this device, little J-Link thing. I don't know how to hook this up to this feather. I have this, which I am sure would be used, and it does have labels, and so we might be able to fumble our way through it for the most part, but I'm not confident in knowing the right way to connect it. And in order to try to reduce the number of things that I'm debugging at once, I think I'm going to use the Metro, since we can just plug straight into here. We then don't have to worry about the wiring of the debugging half of the circuit at all. We just know everything's hooked up. It should be working fine. The snagging point there, of course, though, Metro, no built-in display, right? So we need to get a display connected. I have this one, which I'm going to try to use, although due to a tragic accident before I started, we may have buggered this one right up. So we'll see if it works all right or not. If not, then I have another one that I can substitute in. But I went to grab this thing and plug it into a breadboard, and one of the soldered pins, just popped right up. Like it basically came unsoldered from its pad and just popped itself up through the hole. So I tried to get it resoldered. I ended up jumping it to the next pin over. Solder wicked a bit up, and we're hopefully back to working, but we'll see. If this one is giving me trouble, then I'll switch to a different display instead of banging my head against it too much. So really the first thing that I need to do is get the display hooked up to the Metro, start running DisplayIO code, make sure everything's working, and then we can start getting into debugging it, getting the debugger connected, running our new builds, worrying about what happens when we start setting stuff to none and all of that. We can focus a bit better. We're pretty far away. Maybe we'll head in a bit. Oh, too far. There we go. Good. All right. Good morning. How's it going? Kiyoshi, I've got a coffee as well. Here's to the coffee. So I have pulled up this guide, which is going to show us how to connect this display. And I have some wires, although truth be told, I have no idea if I have enough wires, so I may need to run and grab wires at some point, but we'll see. It turns out it was the ground pin, which popped itself out. That was not important, is it? Hopefully we got it reconnected all right for now, though. It's a little gnarly now. It's got a big old kind of weird gnarly blob on it, but hopefully it's going to be all right. Can I get side-by-side action here? Maybe you can see what I'm doing while I'm doing it. For a little seal boy here. Watching over, making sure we get everything right. Okay, so we got one power, we need another power. The good news is, I think these wires, I took them off of the circuit the last time I used it and put it away. So maybe we just have the exact right wires, because I was just using this not that long ago. Playing with transistors, playing with a transistor. Here, ground. Ground is the one that I'm unsure about. That's the one that came up and I had to resolder. So we'll see. If we get weird issues where it doesn't seem like we're grounded properly, then I'll bail on this display and we'll use a different one. And that part's pretty easy, truthfully. We'll have to see, what are we working with power here? So this is on 3-volt power. One thing I don't know, does this provide? It does have a 3.3. Okay, we'll just use that. I don't have any more red wires. I guess I could use orange or yellow, but it'd be nice to have a couple of colors for Phi. Also, let me run and grab the wires. I'll be right back. Okay. This is a very long red wire. Do we want to use a long one? Long one more convenient? We are jumping from the Metro to the breadboard? Kind of nice, actually. Oh, nice. I love these little tiny breadboards too for making small stuff like. Nice. Got a little push button circuit going on there. Cool. Fire everything with a single color. Yeah, I try my best to keep it sort of color coded, but I don't have that many wires, all things considered, and so sometimes we end up with like, yeah, orange is pretty close to red. We'll just use that for power. Or, blue is starts with B and so does black, so blue's fine for ground also. We have one pin that's unlabeled on the Metro, actually, which is interesting. That top pin there, unlabeled. So 3 volts is the third labeled one, which makes it the 4th pin. We should do ground before much else. 2 grounds there. Quite in frame. Probably have to pull some of this stuff closer to me to be able to see it, but I'll try to putting it back into frame as best I can, show you what we're doing. So next we need, well, it doesn't matter so much the order we do it, but we need the SPI stuff. Which is SCK, Mosi Miso. And are those labeled the same on here? Oh, but that gets tricky, doesn't it? Those are actually in this thing, aren't they? I think those are in this 6-pack. Hmm. Let me look at dir board. That seems helpful here. Let me also just, did we unhook the power? Have power, ground. Should be safe to plug it in with the power connected, right? Will maybe tell us if our ground connector is bad? Because I think the display will show some signs of life if it's getting power properly. We've got our 2 reds and our ground. Yeah, let's try it. Okay, so that's plugged in. The other thing is, though, my USB hub has a button. We're technically not plugged in yet. Now we are. I did get power on the display. We have the backlight. Microcontroller seems alive. Ooh, I don't know. Oh, okay. Here we go. CircuitPy. Okay, it took it an extra second. That was interesting. This is probably a very ancient version. I have no idea the last time I used this device. Oh, interesting. It doesn't have there's stuff on it. Yeah, okay. So this is the project that this board normally sits in. I will call it LCD macro thing. I suppose we don't need to erase this just yet. We could just go to the REPL, right? Yeah, CircuitPython 4.10. Should we even, maybe we just update. I don't even know if we care what board says on that version, right? Like, very possibly different, so yeah. Let's head here. Full update run. 4.10, my goodness. M4. Suppose we could make a build. We'll start with stock builds though, just baseline. Like, let's get the circuit and the stuff we need in order to even start testing our changes in the core set up and known to be working before we start actually bringing in our own changes. Double tap there to get us to bootloader. What's that? Of multiplied browsers. I guess I want the camera maybe by itself and then everything else together. We don't need this anymore. And out there will be useful. This image will definitely be useful. The page it came from will eventually be useful. Yeah. Wish you could click this to open it. Yeah, Miso, SCK, and Mosi, these are all in the 6-pack. SCK 0. Are these duplicated anywhere? Are these along the edge too? My 2 C pins are broken out on those sides. Or spy pins. Parallel capture? Yeah, I think our 6-pack there is our best bet. That's certainly the intended stuff, I'm pretty sure. So then we're gonna need a couple more ways to connect. It also has 5 volts in it, which our display only wanting 3. Nothing here uses USB, which would be the pin that's at 5 volts. So we just won't use that, I suppose. But we'll take Miso, Mosi, SCK. We already have ground covered, so we don't need that. Reset, we also don't really need for anything. Okay. Those are also male pins. This little 6-pack header thing here. What I have are male jumpers to go to the breadboard, so I gotta run and grab some female ones. So I'll be right back again after I get some different wires. Yes, exercise day. Okay, I need to get some more of these female jumpers because I used a bunch of them on the trivia play. And now I have only 4 plus 1 that's shorter. Maybe it's the same size. So I have 5. And we need 3 for this, I think, because we only need clock. I'll see Miso. Yeah. I'll try. I do still have 3 of different colors, but barely. When purple, brown, and white. Means we're like opposite our wiring diagram, kind of, because it's got some of those colors used, but for different pins, I think, so we won't get mixed up. And so the way this works is pointer arrow towards the debug thing, Okay, the pin closest to pointer arrow is ground. The next one is MOSI, so I'm gonna go closest to pointer arrow is ground. The next one is MOSI. I'm gonna go white on that. And then we have opposite that is clock, which I'm gonna go purple. I know you can't see the camera right now. Oh, that one's yours. And then I got brown, will go on miso, which is catty corner opposite the arrow. Only thing I didn't know is if these were opposite, but I guess it makes sense they would not be opposite. So miso in this diagram is orange, which is the first one after the right side power. I'll use orange as well. First one after the right side power. And that was miso, which was catty corner, the arrow, which was brown. I hid the camera again, but back to that. Clock. Clock is easy. Clock was green. CK, that is the next one, which is convenient. I do also have green. In there. Clock on our metro was middle on the opposite side of the arrow, which is purple. And then our last one is MOSI. I have white, and it's in this diagram would then be yellow. MOSI, which is the next one. I do also have yellow, which is quite convenient. But at least we got half of our wires matching. We're jumping over to the female longer ones. Actually, having these longer wires here is quite convenient as well, truthfully. Because that means this can kind of separate itself a bit if it needs to. Silicone versions of breadboard hookup wires are sweet, very flexible. Oh, you know, my wife had some silicone wire like you could cut it to length. It didn't have the jumpers on the end, but it was really interesting the way that you can get it just kind of into any shape you want. I could see those being really nice for breadboards. I need some female ones too, though. Part of my problem. I had a bag of female to female, and I used up a lot of them for the trivia display. I do need some more of these too, though, truthfully. My problem with jumper wires is I use them and then they get committed into projects. I don't end up going back and like cutting purpose-built wires. End up just getting permanent breadboard projects. Okay, so we've got our SPI bus connected. The rest of these I don't think matter too much. They've used 9, 6, and 5, which we might as well also use 9, 6, and 5, make our code easy, right? Um, and so this is where I don't actually have super long wires. I guess this one's on the longer side. Blue, orange. This one's also kind of on the longer side. I have one. Pretty long? Okay, we got 3 long ones. That's pretty good. I've got orange, blue, and green, which is not what's here, but we'll make it work. So as long as we do the right order. So gray is right next to yellow. So I'm gonna use green for gray because they both start with G. That's how that works. How's it going, DJ Devin? Good morning. Usually just use random wire, lots of telephone wire, and Cat 5 and 6. 5 and 6. Boy, that would be kind of cool to have kind of like patchboard style connectors that you could plug together. Be an interesting way to prototype stuff. I almost want to make breakouts for common stuff, and then have 5 plugs. How many? There's 8 wires inside there. You connect a lot of interesting. Like you could have a SPI bus inside there, maybe. Connect a display that way. That'd be pretty cool. The Pi X18 actually has 2 Cat 5 jacks. Convert breadboard projects directly to PCB. Oshpark makes small boards quickly and economically. Yeah, I've got to get more into the PCB side of things. I haven't done much. I need to just dive in. I don't know if this one feels like it's got a little bit shorter of a jumper wire. So we'll see if it works. That on the Arduino side, I guess. Green next to yellow. That's our gray. And it went to 5. Go to 5 on the Metro here. And then I've actually got blue, so I'll use blue. They went blue to 9. And blue was next to the other power. Now we've got one left, which in their circuit is purple, but ours is going to be orange. They took it to 6, and it's next to the blue. And then we've got one blank row between that and the next one, taking this to 6. Okay. Oh, this exists already. For NeoPixels. Oh, okay. NeoPixelate. I've heard this term, but I had not seen the device yet. I'm a bit behind on the latest shows. My guess is maybe this is one of the newer things. Interesting. Okay, that's a cool. I really like the idea of using Cat 5 jacks. They have a nice click. Really what it is the tactile click of a Cat 5 is second to none as far as cables plugging in go, in my mind. But 8 wires inside there, they're super common. You can find Cat 5 everywhere. You can cut it to whatever length you need. You can put your own ends on, even though it's kind of a pain. That's a really neat idea. Been out for years? Okay, I just missed it, I guess. I'd never seen carrying Cat 5, like having Cat 5 carry the anything else really. Well, that's not true. I've seen it carry some weird data stuff, projects for work, but never NeoPixels or anything fun like this. Huh, that's really cool. So, but it doesn't know, does it? I mean, does it care what's plugged in? Could it be not NeoPixels? Could it be like a display? A bunch of buttons or something? Got 5-volt signals. I guess that's probably one of the hiccups. Whatever you need, whatever you're going to plug in needs to be expecting 5 volts, which NeoPixels do, but I mean, the other thing is, though, you could surely just take the design file for this, pop out whatever is 5-volt level shifter or something. Okay. Of course, some stuff uses 5 volts inside SPI anyway. Looks like it has a brain. Okay, I think that we are connected here, so let's try to get something going on this. Do this one. Probably it fails because of not having a library. Oh, now it succeeds. Sweet. Okay, so I did not ruin the pin on my display, which is good. That one jumper that had a slightly shorter wire is connected fine, seemingly. Everything's all good here. So now we're half of the way there. So the next thing we want to be able to do is get the debugger connected and get it to hard fault, I guess, hopefully, and then we can see some kind of output. So I'll start back here. This stuff going. So OpenOCD, I want to say possibly I have it already, but maybe not. No. Found names. Oh, this is the, okay, this is part of all one line, the URL. But it's basically just use apt. Ooh. Multiplexer chip. How's it going, Dexter? Good morning, Paul SK also as well. How's it going? More like they're reselling the reels of NeoPixels than a tiny thing on the yeah, tiny thing on the breadboard in the background. Octobus transceiver seems like it's used in multiplexing. Yeah. We have life. Plexer chip, probably I2C. Okay, we should now be able to go this UDB. Ooh. Oh. Okay, well I already have done that because I can already make builds. CircuitPython. I think maybe we're good on that part. I don't know how to get GDB. Do I need like ARM none GDB? I don't know. GDB is part of the larger ARM toolchain. Oh, for John. We'll see what we end up with here. Before we can get in the nitty gritty, we would need to get everything running. First, we need the link between our debug hardware and our computer running. It's called GDB server. First, we need to get OpenOCD going to bridge from our computer to the hardware debugger. Easy with the, not using Arduino 0, so hopefully it's easy with what we have too. Connect a USB cable from the computer to the USB debug connector. USB connector on the Arduino 0. Now make sure you have your big file for OpenOCD. Get tricky if we need, ooh. So that does make it tricky. We'll need whatever's in this, I guess. I mean, we'll be a SAMD51, I suppose. I have no idea about the 91 or the G18. Hopefully we'll be on the same port. And then here, I guess we'd have to, if the 91 changes, we'll need to fix that. Otherwise, it looks like the XX might cover us for 51 versus 21. I don't remember this step. So this is also a Metro Express. Maybe we don't, maybe we do this differently. Okay, maybe we should be doing this differently. Unlike the Arduino 0, the Metro Express doesn't have a built-in debug USB. To do this conversion, you'll need a USB debugger. Okay, yeah, I think we were going down the wrong road here. This is where to connect to normal size, you need an adapter. Okay, I've got all that hooked up. This we've got. A-Link UDB server. This, I mean, did this get installed somehow? I don't know how that got installed. Must have missed. No CD. Did this build the ARM GCC toolchain? It's weird though, because this is the GDB section, but that's part of the ARM toolchain. Okay. How do we get GDB server? Also, is it important that we power this through the barrel jack versus the USB? I hope not. I think most of the SAMD21 Adafruit's been using are the G18. Not a big deal. Don't know about the G19 though, or the AT19. So I wonder, I don't know, we may not, it doesn't say anything about this part for the Metro. Got some information about that. Okay. Well, give it a try. So I'm gonna take out this thing, which is its own little breakout. And we got this ribbon cable is be the same? Is this, oh, this is one way. This has a notch, which makes it one way. Okay. So the way that it fits. Really the opposite in my case. It's kind of interesting. Kind of inconvenient, truthfully, because it's the same way as our Spy 6-pack, but make it work. I don't know if I'll be able to keep it in frame and get this plugged in. My hand's covering it up anyway. There it is. Okay. That's plugged in. Now the thing is that the Metro is using the micro USB cable, and right now I have only one micro USB cable because I've switched mostly to C. I need to grab a micro cable, but that is much closer. I think. Let's see here. When I install WSL, Ubuntu, and all the Adafruit stuff, it always complains about needing ARM. None EABI GCC because I'm on 64 AMD, which isn't included in the make board guide. I think I've got that part set up, the building part. First. Okay. The whole estate will fit in the basement? So, how do we, like, see if this is connected somehow? I gotta just pull our way through this a bit. Some of this is obviously not the same device that we're using. Maybe, you know what would be nice maybe is update this guide once we through all of this. So, I don't have this. I assume I need to get this somehow. Yes. Install. Download. Linux deb. Okay, that's seems good. Unlawful or illegal. Okay. Okay. That's fair. I'm not a person? What? Can't confirm that. Oh, interesting. Okay. I don't think so, not to my knowledge. Okay. Fair, I think. Well, fair or not, I can't download it without, so. Oh, okay, that's just a straight deb file, so we can, well, we don't want to do that. We want to go run with this. Okay. Know if that, like, does that make this work? Oh, hey, look at that. Okay. Can't use help. But it's installed, it's running, it's this stuff happened, or printed. Trying to connect. Hopefully we can stop with Control C. Yeah, okay. So we should link to that page here, maybe? Just me? I feel like we should link to that page here, maybe. Let me reopen that. Well, not that one. Probably, Oh, do they not have windows? DB server? Oh, there's a lot of different things on this page. Oh, okay, no, this is just GUI version. Which actually might be kind of convenient. Anyway, I don't know how to get windows, but this is probably the page the guide should link to, I think. So we need to know the right thing to put here, which start by hoping we get lucky on this page. Friendly zipper case. Oh, this is Wi-Fi. Wait, what? There we go. MD 51J19. 1J19. That sounds like a NFL play call. You're not a person. Yeah. You're allowed to work for Adafruit if you were a terrorist. Oh, yeah, I would hope not. Once you're a designated terrorist, I don't think you're allowed to have an occupation. A U.S. payroll. Yeah. So do we just simply substitute in 51J19 for this? So that opened this. No emulators connected via USB. You want to connect to a J-Link via TCP/IP. Yes. Let's do no. Okay, so those of us with good attention to detail skills will of course note I have not plugged in the debugger. I did plug in a USB cable for it. I'd actually plug it into the USB cable. I think probably will prove to be one of the more important steps. Let's try that again. Okay, that opened a different thing. New firmware version is available for the connected emulator. Do you want to update the latest firmware version? Boy, this feels very trick question-y. What do they mean emulator? Do they mean the device? Like this, or a chip on this thing? They also don't tell me, like, if I click no, surely it will just ask me again next time, right? Hopefully I can just choose to do it later. I guess yes. I'm gonna trust that whoever made this pop-up has done their due diligence and is not just gonna brick my thing by installing an update to it. I get that part's not in the guide. It's a good question, actually. We should look back at the guide. I don't think so, but I don't actually know. But I should look. I should look. Why did this shows blank in here sometimes, and it throws me off? Assume if you say no, there's a way to do it later. Yeah, I would hope so. Oh, I would hope so. They should tell you just for reassurance. Not the guide page. Yeah, doesn't say that. It says all the stuff that it prints. It does have V612, which mine here is saying V782. And here said 782. Let's try no. No feels safer for the time being. Hopefully if we reconnect again, we can just click yes next time. Non-commercial educational purposes. I am learning a lot from this. This is a private project, private personal educational project for me to learn about DisplayIO. Waiting for GDB connection. Connected? So I think my computer is talking to... I think my computer is talking to this thing now? Maybe? We need something else running on this port to talk to it more. Talk to it differently. We didn't get this. I didn't get this. I got listening, connecting... Or I guess okay, we did, but it's in different lines. I see. I see. But then we got waiting for GDB connection, which is not printed here, but I assume happened because the next thing they go is JDB. GDB, similarly straightforward. Still trying on the S2. I am going to try, yeah. How's it going, Mark? First of all, good morning. I am going to try on the SAMD51, mostly because the SAMD51 has the debug plug thing, this thing, so that I don't have to worry about how to wire it. I suspect probably the pins are available here, maybe, especially because there's one labeled debug, which seems highly relevant. But I don't know how to wire it. This thing has got the 10 small pins, and then I've got this breakout for it, which breaks them out to a usable size. But I'm not sure the right way to wire it. So I figured going to a SAMD51, in particular going to a Metro, which has the debug port there, makes it so that I hopefully will not have to like wonder if my circuit is right or troubleshoot my circuit at all. So that hopefully we can just be troubleshooting one aspect, which is the display crashing when we set it to none. Because I'm also not super familiar with the debug setup process, all this stuff that we're working through now. So I figured it'd also be good if I was on as close as I could get to something here. When it comes to firmware, assuming can be bad, that's true. Yep. Assuming then can definitely be bad. Often in PC BIOS updates, you can break things during applications. Good rule of thumb, don't update it unless it's already broken, yeah. I build firmware elf. Most important thing is that your current directory is near your binary. With CircuitPython, I like to be in the @mailsamd directory where your binary is build whatever thing you built and then firmware elf. If you're following along with CircuitPython, you can compile it using debug1. So let's make a build with our current thing, which I don't know where we're at right now. Where did we leave this? Is it currently hard fault? I don't think it does. If I recall right, the last place we left this was it didn't hard fault anymore, but it also didn't show nothing when we set it to none. We were able to set it to none and it didn't crash, but it just kept showing the serial. I think that's where we're at. We'll see once we get it on there. I'm gonna make a build and go from there. I think trying to use it as is a smarter way to go. If it doesn't work, then update. Yeah. Makes sense. I can't recall if I tried it on a SAMD family or an RP2040 because it's the same processor. I did do it on an RP2040 once. I actually forgot about that. I think that one, there's a chance I actually did it on stream as well. So I Should go back and try to find the video of that if I did. That would actually be helpful to be able to look back over. Forgot about that. I did do that. I did that on RP2040 to find the stack trace for when it was hard faulting for when you wrote to NVM storage. And on the Pico, the debug pins are on the end. They're not super convenient to use because they're on the end. You can't just breadboard them. I mean, it's not the, not the end of the world. I think the last thing you did was stop is actually return false or something. Yeah. I tried a couple returns. And I want to say where we were is it was not hard faulting, but it was just continuing to show the serial after we set it to none. I have no idea where they're at. Okay, Metro. It's like some things have Adafruit, some things don't have Adafruit. I'm unclear on the right nomenclature for all of them. So we're gonna go make board this. I'm gonna go. What is shouty debug? Debug 1 a 8. I've made it to the end of my coffee. I might go and get a coffee refill here in a few minutes. We'll see. Nice. 11 months ago, troubleshooting with GDB. That is awesome. Thank you for finding that and linking it. Oop, I got a fail to build. I do wonder, was this the Pico or the other one I did was the is the Pico. Okay. Sweet. So I'll look back over this. If we run into trouble, I'll try to follow along with my past self because I know that I got it working at that point. Uh-oh. Flash firmware? Oh. Overflow bytes? Hmm. Do we not have enough room? Debug take more room? Not the same error I'm used to though. Usually when you build and it's too small or whatever. Elf section text will not fit in region flash firmware. Done that a couple of times with my own car videos. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I am constantly thinking my past self. Recording things does come back around to help you yourself sometimes. Yeah, for sure. I've a few times I've looked back on stuff I've streamed to do it a second time or do it a slightly different way or whatever. Okay. We're gonna push this. We're gonna go back to main. We're gonna see if building main has the same problem. Maybe I need make fetch submodule? I haven't done fetch submodules in a minute. This doesn't feel like the same error that you get when a build takes up too much space though, right? Like that error, it's like it tells you how far away you were, right? It's like X number of bytes didn't fit in X amount of bytes of space or whatever. This feels like a different error. This one was an even different one. The only thing I could think here is maybe we would also want to go clean. Possibly I had some stuff left over from the other ones. Oddly enough, the videos start helping a lot of people, which is just a bonus, yeah. Used myself with the transistor not working, and then I tried rewiring the button, and the LED lit when I touched the base wire. Not doing it now. Nice. Okay, I did clean, and then I got a good build. Come on. Go clean again. Let's go bug 1 on main and see if we get a build that way. If it is space, I could find something to disable. Although it is weird because it passed actions on the PR. Well, but it wouldn't have been doing debug. Can I ask in CircuitPython dev? I don't know if anybody will be around. Oh, let's see if anybody has any ideas on that. I think, I mean, it must be that we don't have enough space. It must be the debug takes more. We don't have enough space. You know, I don't know. I say it must be. That's my best guess, I should say. Could not be the case, but that's my best guess. And the fact that it's happening on main, actually probably a decently good sign. That means it's not just something that we broke. Could disable some stuff. I don't know the right way to do it though. What is that? Blue micro? I just disabled something in blue micro. I don't know what it was called. It's mpconfig board.make, and it's just setting the things to true or false. I don't need either of these right now. No idea how big they are. I don't know what's the most bang for your buck, so to speak. Maybe with all the symbol names that are stored in the .text area, wild guess, you could look in the linker script, which is an area and I have little experience with. Yeah, I have perhaps even less. I don't think I wouldn't even know where to start looking, truthfully. Coding with iterations can sometimes be a lot like that. Anything with JLink is definitely a dev level question. Yeah, for sure. We got the same. Oh no, we got a different thing. We got some stuff telling us that some things were not found that we turned off. So I guess this is actually. Oh no, we got the same thing up here though. Bye. Masking tape and plastic bags are great when taking apart an engine. Video showing everything you're doing can't be beat. Yeah. I think we must be doing this wrong because like, okay, I don't think we got the size error this time. So if we can get it to be okay with these things missing. No, if a clean, hopefully a clean will do it. Oop, gotta build. We'll take it. We don't have microlab, but that's okay. I just install it? Do we want to run this thing with the elf or whatever? I don't know that we'll have this command. Okay. Enough. So back here, we still just have this thing waiting. Here we're gonna go this plus build metro firmware elf. You should see some version information and a prompt that start with GDB. All examples that start with GDB should be run in GDB, and you do not need to type GDB in. If we see what we get. Got the same thing. Lib in curses cannot open shared object file. Probably we need to install this, is my guess. Yeah. Hey, some Wish there was exact match. There is 5, but dev legacy 6. Use 6 is so.5. Maybe we should stick to 5. Clean for the win? Yeah. Yeah, I find, especially when you're changing stuff in the build level, like your make files and stuff, I do find clean oftentimes useful. You'll get weird errors without it that will just go away when you run it. I don't know what lib in curses is, but it doesn't sound very pleasant. I think that curses is a ASCII GUI thing. So like how these progress bar type things are technically ASCII art or whatever, right? I think end curses is for making ASCII stuff like that, or like Nano, if you're familiar with the text editor Nano, the terminal text editor. It's like an ASCII interface. I think that's what curses is it's a library for making those kinds of interfaces. Lib in curses, my guess is it's just a way to use that library, but I don't actually know. LibPython 2.7. Does this really have to use like specifically Python 2.7? Use Nano once. Now curses makes more sense. Yeah. Let's feel cursed when you're using Nano a little bit. It's not be found, I'm sure. Only that, but I don't have the locate command. Okay. It is weird though. I mean, I don't. Oh, okay. Well. Oh. It is weird though. I don't have Python 2.7. I don't know. Maybe this is gonna install Python 2. I don't really want Python 2.7. Okay. This did not just crash this time. Copyright license. This is free software. No warranty. Show copying. Type show copying or show warranty for details. DB was configured as Linux, ARM EABI none. Show configuration for bug reporting. Find the manual for help. Apropos word? Search for commands related to word. Okay, type return for more. Q to quit. C to continue without paging. I guess it's successful. It doesn't really tell you anything else here. You should see some version of information and a prompt that start with GDB. I did not get a prompt that start with GDB. You go down or enter. Okay. Return for more. Then I pressed enter and it said this, and now it says GDB. So I think we did make it to the right place. We don't type GDB. That's fine. Target extended remote. Tell GDB to debug through OpenOCD rather than on this computer. All right. Hopefully that's the port we're using. We need semicolon or... Should be run in GDB. You don't need to type GDB. Oh, timed out. Ended remote. Oh. Are these two different options? Are we using OpenOCD or J-Link? Is this, I do think this is the port, yeah, this is the port that this thing said. Okay. These might be options here, I think. Because this is the same thing, right? Now we need to tell GDB to debug through OpenOCD rather than on this computer. Now we need to tell GDB to debug through J-Link rather than on this computer. These have got to be either or, right? Seems successful, I guess. It's not an error. Nice. Okay. Loading, resetting, and running. Loading, resetting, and running the currently running program on the microcontroller is critical to the debugging process. I would agree with that. To load a new version of the program after you have compiled outside of GDB, do this. Just called run load. Then I assume it prints all this. And then I don't think we're doing this, because I think we're on the JDB, the J-Link version. Reset the microcontroller to start the new program. You need to ask J-Link via monitor to reset the initialization state. Monitor reset running. Finally, to make the program run, type continue or C and press enter. The prompt won't return until your program finishes, hits a breakpoint, or you type Control C. Which in our case, our program is CircuitPython. So right now, we don't have a CircuitPy drive. Right now, our display is blank, just white with the backlight only. So we would want to go load, and then do we need to do reset right away? Well, do we need to do load? I think we would only need to do load after we make a new build. We want to do reset. State halted. Unclear what our state is here. We're just waiting for continue. Continuing. Ah, yes. I'm pretty sure CircuitPython just ran. Yep, because I saw the blinks, and now this is connected as a thumb drive. Okay. And then, so it says that our prompt here will not come back until our program finishes, which we have a infinite loop, so this won't happen. It's a breakpoint, which we have no breakpoints, so this won't happen. Or you type Control C, which we could make that happen, and I assume that would be in the EO? Or is that still part of the program? That's actually, that's still part of the program. So that gets us to REPL, but even when we're in REPL, we're still running the CircuitPython program, right? We think of it as no longer running because it's not running CodePy, but it's still running the CircuitPython program, the C program that is CircuitPython. Let me catch up here on the chat, sorry. And you're in, nice one, yeah. Would have spent hours pulling my hair out trying to figure out something like this. I feel like I got a little bit lucky, but I have spent those hours pulling my hair out before a few times. And it gets a little easier every time. Only a little though. I believe they're separate. Sorry, I'm not sure what I had. Oh, OpenOCD and J-Link. Okay, yeah, thank you. I use Nano when that's what's on a computer. Yeah, I use Nano on servers because I'm not good at Vim, and yeah, it's there. It's installed by default. So guide needs better wording on that. You have to initialize the middleman before running the program. Makes sense. Not to pull your brain on this, but I figured the pixel map pull your brain out of this, but I figured out the pixel map range problem. occurred right at the first out of bounds address. I could try to push a commit to that PR or just comment the 2 lines that need to change. I say go with the comment, and if you can, just include the code that makes it fail like that. We could actually, it might be decent practice to try to get our debugger to read that failure too. Although then we got to get NeoPixels hooked up, do this thing, or figure it out on the feather. Yeah. Either way, though, truthfully, honestly, a comment's fine. Or if you have it narrowed down already and you know the exact change and you want to push it to that branch, that's cool as well. Totally up to you. We did launch our screen now. Screen is now running, so everything's good there. And so I guess at this point we pretty much can just try out our code that we think is problematic, which would be the setting of none. Never tried to push it, I'll figure something out. Oh, never tried to push it like directly to the PR or something. Try a push it to that PR. I see. Yeah, comments totally cool as well. I see. Never try to push to a different PR. I'm with you. Yeah, it's a bit tricky. You have to like check it out a bit differently. Like I use GH a lot, GH PR checkout, but the way that checks it out, you're not ready to just push to it. You have to actually like add the other person's remote, which in this case it's even like weirder because it's Jeff's remote, not mine. So you'd have to add Jeff's remote, then check out his branch, then you're ready to push. But comment, like I said, comment's totally cool as well. If you want to do that, I can update it afterwards. Thank you for looking back into that too, by the way. Definitely appreciated. So we want to basically go display, and so if I recall correctly, then this will not crash, but it will not work either. It will keep showing whatever it was showing before, which in this case is actually the purple and the green, I think. Uh, hmm. Oh. So we are on main branch here, which means we don't have the set root group stuff. So I guess we get to test that load thing. So we're going to go check out back to set root group none stuff. That's where I was working on this. And then you need to make a build. This is the terminal I was using to make a build. Continuing. Do we need to Control C before we can do load? Loading and resetting. Load the current version of the program after you have compiled outside of GDB. So let's do that first. Fortunately, we're now in a different terminal, so I can't just up arrow to get back to my old one. Hopefully we get this one. I guess we made the debug build on main. Hopefully we are able to get one here too. Transistor is making me sad. Uh-oh. Using GH to pull it, and yeah, that way you're describing. I'll just comment on the PR. I'll look into slice things too, since I was the one who wants it. Oh, nice. Yeah, that'd be awesome. The way I got it working is the get slice works, but the Python layer is the part that's doing it. And I don't know how much it speeds up. Like, if that part of it speeds up by being in the core, then I assume we'll probably want it there. But yeah, I'm happy to have you look into that as well. Thank you for, honestly, thank you for everything on that front. Testing it out and any amount of work you want to do for it, I'm grateful for sure. I never remember the commands to show USB serial and connect, so I just arrow up. Yeah, arrow. I am a big relier on the arrow in the terminal. Okay, so we've made a build, and then at this point, we can load it, I guess, instead of going through bootloader. Supposedly we can do this. What I don't know, though, is do we need to type Control-C here before we type run, or, excuse me, load? I'm going to try it. I'm going to go Control-C here. Okay, program stopped. Interesting, nice. Okay, so breakpoint. I didn't put a breakpoint in the code or whatever, but this happens to be the line of code where we were when we broke out, I guess. So that's cool. We go load, which will reread the ELF file or whatever. I don't know if that's actually what it's doing, but enough for me, I think. Conceptually, at least. Then we do this to reset the microcontroller. I heard it jingle, and it's no longer connected as CircuitPy. And then here is where we will do that C for continue, get it to launch. It will then load CircuitPython. CircuitPy connects. It does all of its stuff. Where's my camera? Here. We got the display configured and showing. We never saw Hello World, so I assume it still crashed. Still has no root group. I wonder if... This should say dirty though, right? I don't think we got the new build. But did all of this. Oh, okay, yeah. Changed. Rereading. Did that stuff. Resetting target and then continuing. But when it came back up, it doesn't... Seems like it's still on just the same build as it was before, which was the stock beta 4. So I think we want to go to bootloader, because it seems like that didn't actually install. In fact, it's kind of interesting. It didn't really install the first time either, though, right? Maybe this is not installing. Loading. Maybe loading is not installing. Maybe this just means loading for debugging, loading into GDB so that it can find stack traces. Maybe we need to install our firmware separately. At a breakpoint where you want to stop, use break. For example, to break at the function called this, in CircuitPython, you would type this. If you want to break close to a particular source code line, you can give the file name and number instead. Breaking by line can get fuzzy if you enable optimizations while compiling because the compiler may rework underlying machine code. To delete a breakpoint, use delete, continue, load, get back going. As before, you want to load a new version. Fixed. Monitor reset init? Should we have done init? Oh. I don't know. I don't feel like we got the new version. Backtrace is most common underway to program, understand where a program stopped. 0, 1, 0, 3, main. Globals, locals. Buffer. Code changes. To be honest, this is a bit out of my depths here. Hard fault handler. DB helper. Okay. I don't know. None of this is really about installing new versions. It seems like eventually load is supposed to do this for you. But I don't know. Mine doesn't seem to have the latest version. So I am gonna go back to bootloader. One question is, what do we want to do with this? Do we want to go maybe Control C? Actually, no. So the thing is, though, I can't actually get to the bootloader, I think. I'm gonna try to do continue and then reset right after, but yeah, I don't think it's not gonna work though. I don't know, that didn't work anyway. Program received SIGTRAP. I don't know, I messed it up by pressing the reset button. It'd be. I don't know how much of this we redo. Break out of this. I don't know how we get out of this either. Inferior remote. How? Okay. Unplugged and replugged the Metro. Back to relative normal. It booted up fine. It didn't wait for a continue or whatever, so we're no longer in the debug session or something. So we should be able to double tap reset. at the correct speed, and get to the bootloader. Over. Anybody ever say anything back in this one? No. I figure that's probably like a Dan or a Scott question. I'm not necessarily expecting anybody to see it until Monday at the earliest. Yeah, see here now we have this dirty this. Oh, I was wrong too though. It does hard fault. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna comment this out. We are gonna out of the hard fault handler. Is the reset button that not enough of a reset? So we're hard faulting even though we took out the set to none. And ultimately we'll go back to the debugger and hopefully it'll give us more information. But I do want to try a little bit of troubleshooting this because I was expecting this one to succeed, I think. Maybe I misremember where, but well, I mean it just succeeded a minute ago. We had our purple and stuff showing, so something about our new build doesn't work with creating the display, even though we haven't even gone to try to set it to none yet. Something else is broken with it. We'll change this over to set root group as well, but I'm just going to try changing one thing at a time. Never remember the, oh yeah, arrow up. Yeah, sometimes I'll arrow up 50 lines if the line's really long. Yeah. Really just trying to see which line actually ends up raising the hard fault. We get all the way to there. I wonder if this didn't save. I wonder if we commented this out and PyCharm is telling us that this is commented out, but it's actually not. But I mean, all the rest of our changes are working, right? All of our print statements are working. Yeah, all the way through all that stuff. No, we didn't. We got to text. We did not add the text. We don't add the text. Really what I'm trying to do is understand if this is a different issue than what I actually set out to troubleshoot or not. Still never got added text. Hmm. Create group. If we don't create the label, does it not hard fault? Let's keep the text even though it's not. Oh, we have going to loop actually. Let's just use that one. Interesting. Okay. So unknown, I suppose. Well, I mean, probably it's different. Yes, probably it's different. That is odd, though. Okay. Well, okay. I do think I'm gonna run and get a new coffee. I'm gonna fill up my coffee real fast, come back, and then we will hook it up to the debugger, see if we can't get a better stack trace for our now two, hopefully, well, what I'll say are hopefully not different two hard faults. Hopefully we're going to find the source of one and fix it, and that's going to fix both, but we'll see. But caffeine will help either way, so I'll be back in just a minute. Okay. The other thing is I have no idea how the hard fault handler interacts with the whole debugging thing, right? Do we have to do I have to disconnect and reconnect everything every single time? We'll run this. I did get this thing again. We'll stick on to no. Got this again. Say no more for today. This was our build. So this was our connecty thing. Did that. We did the port selector, this one. Okay, got us to here. So now do we just make it hard fault? But it's not running because we need continue. Just create the label. Seems like creating the label is the first thing we were unable to do successfully, although we have text here not declared now. I have a big sleep at the beginning now. Okay, yeah, disconnected, hard faulted. Well, uh-oh. Didn't really get anything useful. Starting target CPU. Did it say that before or after? Possibly we need to like run a command to see this backtrace. Okay. Don't actually have a prompt here though. Hmm. We're kind of stuck now. I don't know how to get. Oop. And received sig trap. But I have no idea. Is this like where it crashed for? So I also don't really know what state I'm in. Oh, this did some more stuff. This did some more stuff. Connected here. If I just do C again, does it reconnect and rerun? It does, so that's a good sign, I guess. Well, it reconnects, but it's in safe mode, so it doesn't run CodePy. So is backtrace like the last time it crashed? A program is currently stopped. Print. Know the name of any variables to print. I do think this might be worth a bit, because if well, basically what I need to know is the order of how do we like find the stack trace for our hard fault. BT. Oh, backtrace has BT. We got our stuff running, we did our continuing, and now it looks like I'm trying to make it hard fault because I'm writing in VM. I tried to do BT, but it didn't work, but that's because I don't have the prompt. So this time what I did is I control C'd, and then I could run backtrace, but is that actually giving me the backtrace? There's the control C, and the BT. Set it and set a breakpoint in the hard fault handler. For alarm IRQ handler. That's what this said. Okay. Let's try to reset. Let's try to get it to hard fault again. Let's break out and then do backtrace. See what it prints and see if it's the same as this or not. And then either way, we'll try to do a breakpoint in the thing it says. Which we have this, but this appears to be in the REPL, not anything to do with like creating the group or anything like that. Background callback, background callback run all. This does, yeah, it seems like all REPL stuff. So how do we get back? Monitor reset. Continue. Maybe we don't want, not connected right now. Maybe we want to try to make it crash from the REPL instead of the CodePy. Because now this is going to launch in safe mode? No. It's going to launch, it's going to crash, hard fault. Now we're in safe mode. I didn't have my point. Broke already in the IRQ. Trying to figure out how to clear the breakpoint here. I have still not made a breakpoint yet. Really what I'm trying to see was like try again basically. Moment of silence. Oh no, lost a dear friend and comrade in the transistor experience. Experiments. And two breakpoint. continue, but we don't have a driver. I have the same shirt on. Funny. So we'll see. Go. Go into interrupt. I don't feel like this is the backtrace from our hard fault. Oh, back. Figure out how do I get the stack trace from the hard fault. So I have these two steps of run the thing here, run the thing here, run the connect to port command in here, and then we have C for continue, we have monitor reset for reset, we have BT for backtrace. What is the right order of those things to see the backtrace from the hard fault crash? We probably want to do the same thing as what past him is doing here, which is adding a breakpoint on the hard fault handler. Debug 1. Stuff disconnected in order to install a new UF2 is what I just said. Okay, sorry, this is probably not very interesting as well because I don't think the sound comes through. So it's me now talking about hearing me back then. I don't think you all can hear. Try resetting the breakpoint. Oh, thank you, M4TK. I appreciate the help here. Yeah, you're telling me basically what past him was just discovering as well. Break on hard fault handler. Then run to restart CircuitPython, and then do a crash via CodePy, and then a BT for a stack trace. Thank you. Let me try this stuff. So we are currently in disconnected altogether. I am surprised actually. So we're gonna go monitor reset, setting the target. We're gonna go before we do continue. I think we were gonna make the breakpoint first, right? Breakpoint 1. supervisor port C hard fault handler. Then run to restart CircuitPython. Is it run or continue? I'm gonna try continue. That does continuing. CircuitPy connects. My CodePy will hard fault after 5 seconds. Well, okay, it's trying to hard fault, but our breakpoint stopped it actually. Breakpoint 1, reset into safe mode, hard crash. So now BT just says, oh, a bit too soon. Object instance make new, which does make sense because it was on make the label. Yikes, I was hoping to find stuff in DisplayIO though, right? Like, more to this? Code? Run list. So yeah, I don't even know where to begin with any of this. I mean, make MP object instance make new. About the only thing in this list that I really recognize as something that I did for sure, right? Because we are making a new label. Um, See, that is super weird too, because I would not have thought anything I did is adding a breakpoint designating a specific area to observe. It is adding a specific area to stop executing at. So basically, you're choosing a line of code and you're saying, whenever we get to this line of code, just stop the execution and kind of wait for me to press a continue button or whatever. And then you can also try to examine stuff in memory at that time, like the value of variables and things. You try to figure out what happened, how you got to here, essentially. So in our case, we put that breakpoint on the hard fault handler. Whenever we were about to, like, whenever CircuitPython was about to call the hard fault handler to make it do its thing, to reset into safe mode, our breakpoint said, hey, you got to here, so now you need to stop. Just wait for more instructions. Don't keep going. And then with backtrace, we're able to see the list of all the functions that led to the line of code where we stopped on, which sometimes will tell you kind of helpful stuff about what state it was in and why it could have messed up. I'm not actually getting too much out of this, truthfully. The only thing I can think to do at this point is like try to find out if, like, try to pare this down further. Try to remove all the display setup and everything else and just create a label and nothing else and see if that hard faults. And go from there. It almost feels like this almost feels like a red herring though, right? We're getting a hard fault when we create the label, but I think we were using labels. We were using a hello world label yesterday and we weren't getting the hard fault when we were still testing the same core build. So it can't just be that labels are broken, really. I don't think. And ultimately, what we want to get back to is fixing the hard fault when you set to none, which still, like, let's recall too, like, the best of my recollection, we're in a version that doesn't hard fault when you set none. We've just now ran into this other hard fault for creating a label. I don't know how far to chase it though, because I don't know how real. It's real enough, right? It's happening on this device. So do we go continue here or monitor reset again? So really what I want to do is stop it from running CodePy, which that 5-second time.sleep we have is hopefully going to help us achieve. I'm going to go see here, wait for this to connect, and then out. Yeah. So let's do this. Back to basically nothing. If it's in order of memory trace, would number 2 be the last thing that ran before hard faulting? I don't know, to be honest. I'm not the one who could really answer that, I don't think. I mean, that seems like a good theory to me, but I don't know. The thing is also, I don't know at what point do we really pause in this too. Is this after the bad code has run? I mean, I think it would be, right? I don't know though. Yeah, it gets weird though, because our bad code is like, I would have expected it to be somewhere in DisplayIO, but I don't know. Yeah, a good question, but I do not know the answer. So this is just back to doing nothing pretty much. Let that run, it'll just print. Oh, except for I just did all this wrong. This is the one. That doesn't. Okay. So I wonder if it's the way this is imported. We're using bitmap label, yes? We hit our breakpoint again. Yeah, so we did hard fault. I think is probably the same vectrace roughly. Okay, so now we have basically nothing from. We have basically none of the core code that I've changed with the API stuff, right? None of that really should be in the mix. Because we didn't set up a display. Displays have already been released from this the last time it ran. Back to blank. And I got to a hard fault by just importing and creating the label. So I'm going to disconnect this. I'm going to disconnect this. I am going to just install stock. This. See if we get the same thing. And I don't know which way I think is more likely. It seems like I did not cause it with my changes to the core, but it also seems unlikely that creating a label just hard faults on this device. Does label use microlab? I don't think it shouldn't be using microlab at all. My thought just now was like maybe because I disabled microlab, maybe we broke something. I don't think so though. Okay. We should be back to stock CircuitPython 8.04 beta, whatever. Yeah, 8.0 beta 4. So back to REPL. Let's just do all the same stuff. Wish I could do up in here. Speaking of our up stuff from earlier. Does this crash? No. Hmm. I don't get that. I'm gonna say maybe that some of the display stuff was still in the mix, perhaps because we ran CodePy before we changed it to just print hello. Maybe during that time, it made some of our core code changes do something, which then ultimately led to that same crash. So I have just reinstalled my modified version again. But we still don't have anything in CodePy, so we're not initializing the display at this point. At this point, as far as I know, I have not done anything with any of the modifications that I made in CircuitPython on this device since I flashed it just a second ago. None of my new code, I believe, has done anything because it doesn't have a built-in display. If it had a built-in display, then it would have ran the initialization. It would have used some of my new stuff. It doesn't. Our CodePy is not initializing the display. Once we go to REPL, we're not going to initialize the display. Yeah, I don't think any of my new code has been done anything. I guess, is there a chance that making a label is broken on debug builds? Is that possible? Like main branch debug builds? We'll try that next. If this hard faults, which I'm kind of assuming it will, then we'll make a debug1 build of main. Yeah, I did. Okay. That is very weird. That is very weird. Why? I don't get what I could have touched that would be getting used and therefore leading to an error here. All right, so let's give it a try. You're going to go back to main. We're going to make clean, first of all. going to make debug 1. We're going to go to bootloader. Hello? Bootloader. We have not even made it to the point of checking the original hard fault of setting the thing to none. Okay, so we're still on CodePy that does nothing. We still can't use up arrow to get to these, so we're going to copy paste them again. This is main branch with debug 1. But no breakpoints, no GDB connected, none of that stuff. Okay. Okay. I feel better. I feel better. I feel better for a few reasons. For one thing, like, it's likely that I did not randomly break this with my changes to the DisplayIO API, so that feels good. Also, it's likely that my understanding of DisplayIO does not just get completely thrown out the window. Because, like, my new code being the cause of this basically means that a lot of the stuff I thought I understood about internally how DisplayIO works was not true. Because my understanding is my new code's not getting used when we do this. And so if my new code was leading to this, then that throws my understanding out the window. But we actually get the crash when debug is on 1, when we just create a label. This is on main branch. This has nothing to do with my change. So the next question becomes, though, it could be all related. That's still true. It could be one sort of thing out there in the universe leads to these different hard faults. It could be one thing somewhere. I don't even know how to begin approaching this, to be honest. I guess, I mean, the best thing that we can do here is I can make an issue. I can document exactly what I did. Oh, cat is behind me. Your cat is like a doppelganger for one of my cats. That's crazy. Oh. I have a cat that looks just like this with his little stripes between his eyes like that. Mine's a boy cat. Although his name's Tabitha, because we didn't know he was a boy when we named him. But he's cool. I think he likes the name Tabitha. We don't usually call him Tabitha anyway. Only if he's in trouble. Buddy. His name is Tony's and he's a sad loaf. Do other DisplayIO objects cause the failure? Good question. Group does not, I believe, because we created a group. Oh, we don't want to go bootloader. Yeah, I mean, I suppose we could chase it further, right? We could look inside the label initializer and try to figure out the specific line of Python code that ultimately gets executed before it crashes. I think that group is fine, though. Yeah. Let's just do. We did do scale 2 on the label. Maybe it's scale 2. I guess, I mean, we could try. Oh, no, we didn't. We didn't. I thought we did scale 2, but that's not true. Well, we could try different colors or something. Create a group, no problem there. Try different color. Let's try leaving. Let's try absolute bare bones. And I think the only required argument is the font. I don't even think text is required. Crashed. Yeah, I'm with you there. Gendered names. You got a very cute kitty. Person has a kitty that looks like our kitty. Yeah. Stripey boy. Tabitha Jane.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's at first I was confused. I wondered if I switched to your chat and you sent me a photo or something. All right. I think boy, I don't know. Hoping for a silver bullet fix all the hard faults happening lately. With them on my S3 constantly, Feather S3 too. Yeah, I mean, I would guess the S3 probably there's something still in the port that needs fixed. That would be my assumption there. But I also have very little experience on the S3s so far. I have not used them hardly at all. I will say, like, I guess if I get my hard fault debugging experience and skills in order here, maybe I can help try to get stack traces for him. Hopefully we can start getting them knocked out if we can get stack traces. Thank you, by the way. Who was it? It was M4TK. I appreciate the point in the right direction, friend. I don't know if you're still around, but definitely thank you for the pointers on the debugging. You did give us the exact right stuff that led us to our stack trace. So thank you for that. Definitely appreciate the help, just like I appreciate it from Deshipu and I think it was AT Maker's Bill that were helping me back in this video as well. I think the best I can, it's kind of two layers here. So we have kind of a couple of possibilities here. I think really the best thing I can do with this specific one that we're seeing now is make an issue, document everything that I can, put together reproduction steps, include this stack trace, put all that stuff together in an issue, and then at that point we can hopefully have either Dan, Jeff, or Scott take a look sometime whenever they're back in the office, so to speak. Maybe they'll have an idea of where to look further next. All of that aside, we have the next thing to consider, which is what we were actually really sat down to try to debug today, which was the setting of the root group to none. Do we want to press forward and attempt to debug, i.e. get this stack trace for setting the thing to none, knowing that there are also other differences in the mix, right? Now I'm a bit scared of trying to debug the actual thing I was wanting to look at because now I know there's other stuff in the mix, right? This is not behaving the same as normal, right? We're having this other hard fault from creating a label. Who's to say that we're not going to get some hard fault in the process of setting to none that's actually related to debug or that's actually related to whatever's going wrong here rather than the hard fault that's actually causing the issue we're looking at, right? We can't really say, now that we know this is not working normally, quote unquote, we can't really say anything we see from here out is like, could be caused by this or some unrelated thing like this is, or could be the actual issue that we're looking at, which is setting root group to none. I think it's still worth trying, probably. But I think I guess, just have to keep in mind that whatever we find, like, may or may not apply, right? Maybe it does tell us our actual root cause. Maybe it tells us that we found another surprise bug. Oh, nice. Oh, okay. So yours looks a lot like ours in the face, less in the body. Ours is more kind of stripes in the body. He just went running by. In fact, he must have just been up recently. Yeah, collapsed from exhaustion. Got some zoomies. Nice. Got up, so here's more stripes. I love the sunlight. Ours will hang out in the sunlight too. We've got lots of good photos of the sun beaming in on him. Hard muddy the water, yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Um, I think it's good though. It's overall good because I'm getting practice with debugging the hard faults, and I think this is a good thing for me to practice. To be honest with you, I should probably buy the right, it's the first one. Probably buy the big one. I don't have them in stock though. 50. This really, this is not the same thing, is it? Is this the same thing? M8? Really, that's not the same thing. It's $500 one. They're out of stock though. One of these days I gotta get the full size one, I will say. At this point I feel like I do still probably fall under EDU, but somewhere along the way it'll be not really as it'll be a lot more of a stretch. Call it that. 450 is kind of expensive, but whoa. Okay. You can't buy these right now. Well, that'll make it a lot harder. X. That's not looking so easy to buy right now. Maybe now's not the time to be worrying about that. Okay. I'll make the issue. I do think I'll try to get the stack trace from our actual crash if we can, but that may come at a different time. I think I'm going to make this issue for now and then probably call it a day for the moment. Ever get anything more in the CircuitPython dev channel? I don't think so, right? Did actually get some pixel map stuff, so I'll look back into that stuff in a bit. Jeff as well. I don't see anything on the debugging. It is weird though, right? Why does it crash with label? The only thing I can think is maybe the layers and the extending get messed up by debug potentially. Because we have class label extends label base. Label base extends group, I think. Yeah. Should we try to create a label base? Label based. Font, which I guess we'll need to import. Thingy. Didn't reset. I wonder, does the breakpoint like get stuck or whatever? I mean, we didn't hit the breakpoint last time though, right? Oh, now it finally disconnected. Interestingly though, it didn't reconnect in safe mode. That's different behavior slightly. Is it consistent? I'm gonna do it one more time, see if it does the exact same thing or not. Because last time we got, it did like freeze for a second or whatever, but then it came back, it reset, came up in safe mode. Okay, it is, yeah. Okay, so some part of that was a fluke. This time it behaved the exact same as the first time. Like, the time before, I should say, not the first time. I don't know, it's all confused now. This time it did pretty much reset immediately, and it did come back up in safe mode. Whereas this one back here, it kind of like just stalled or whatever. Okay, so when we create label base, it does also crash. Okay, so can we simplify this a bit? Can we go new Python file, import uh, extend hard fault check class hard fault check ends group ends DisplayIO.group. It DisplayIO. Also, I put up the chats for a minute. Sorry. Got up and walked to the sun, walked back. I was out of power. Pretty sure Lady Ada did an episode of Desk Lady Ada where she goes over the difference in the J-links. Look into that. I know the EDU, I mean, I know kind of the basic difference of the EDU one versus the real one. My experience uses the $1 do not work the same as the 450. Oh, nice, thank you. I will watch that. S3, I have, on the S3, I have this hard faulting. Regularly see it do stuff where it just stalls sometimes forever and then hard faults, like it gets caught in the loop and just turns. Interesting. Maybe there's also a slight bug in the handling of the hard faults where it makes it freeze instead of reset or something. Okay, so basically just created a class that extends group and does nothing else. And so we saw that creating groups directly seems okay. So let's see if creating our extended one. Interesting. I kind of expected that not to work, truthfully. Should we call super? Maybe we should be calling super. Probably we should be calling super. Don't have these. Again. Now turn on a PSU with the transistor. Nice. Nice progress. Ta-da emoji on that one for sure. What do we get on here? So does it fail this time? Oh. No, we're good. Still works. Works fine. Oh. Really expecting that we would be able to cut out a lot of the stuff and still get the same crash, but they appear to be the case. No problem. Well, was gonna try to knock it down to kind of like minimally reproducible, but like even more so than label. I mean, we have it pretty minimal with label, but side label it does kind of a lot. And we crashed even when we created label base directly, so we know the next layer doesn't really matter so much. And I almost want to like add print statements inside of here. Figure out what the last thing it does before it crashes is. All right, let me make the issue first. I need to make sure that I need to actually make the issue so that we can document what we have found so far before I lose steam and then decide to try to make the issue later and it gets lost in the shuffle or whatever. Let's make the issue and then I'll worry about next steps troubleshooting afterwards. I do think it's worthwhile to basically just add prints like before this, after this, before all of these, and after all of these, just sprinkled in between these lines here. prints all the way. That way what we'll be able to see is what is the last print that ran, so that we could try to find what is the line of code that actually sends it to the hard fault on the Python side. That would probably be good information to have. So I'll plan on doing that at some point, but for now I'm just going to make this issue, and we're going to say this is a hard fault. So this is actually hard fault with debug build from creating a label, from only creating a label. Should we say the device, Metro? And Metro, I mean, I would assume that this is the same on other devices too, right? Okay. I need to make the issue. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna make the issue. I'm gonna make a debug build for the Feather TFT. We're gonna try this on the Feather TFT, see if it hard faults the same way or not. And then I'll circle back and add that information to here. And this is dirty, but it's from main. It's from main. Might be a few days old at this point. I do think I did not update main, so maybe it's out of date by a little bit, but I'll do the label first. I'll do this one first. that a weird idea? Could it be related to TerminalIO font missing characters? Have you tried with a custom font? I know it's a long shot. I have not tried with a custom font. I don't know if it could be because it's missing characters. I wouldn't think so. Actually, maybe? Maybe TerminalIO doesn't have font. Maybe because... has a font? And font? Yeah, that's a possibility. Possibility. It could be missing stuff. I'll try with a custom font at some point as well. I feel like we uncovered more problems than we solved today, but that's how it goes some days, I guess. I didn't even get to seeing the stack trace of the actual thing I sat down to debug today, but I did still learn a lot, and I do still feel like we're closer to a solution, even though we uncovered more problems than we solved. Enough. In with pausing of music. Built-in TerminalIO has a slimmed down version of a full font. I do think that's true. Yeah, it does not. I don't think it has a completely full font, but I've never had it just hard fault when you create a label before. It's kind of true. Oh, no need for backticks? Okay. I think this is what we're going to post pretty much, and then I want to try it on the Feather TFT to see if it's like a Metro only thing or something. Because we don't actually need the debugger in order to just see if it will hard fault. The debugger would help us get the stack trace, which actually I do want to remember to put the stack trace. That was our breakpoint, right? These are slightly different. One went to 17, whereas this one only went to 16. The first several ones are the same. Hard fault handler, really, oh, okay, then signal handler, execute bytecode, BC call, execute bytecode, BC call, closure call, execute bytecode, back and forth, back and forth. Eventually there's this. So yeah, I don't know what the difference is. Oh, there it is. Print PyExec friendly REPL. One doesn't have that. Custom fonts. They're not half of its terminal. Okay. Bus. Good fonts. I mean, it does. These ones are the custom fonts, but some of them, it sounds like, will be the standard ones. Yeah, these ones here. It is making them in the same way, but it seems, so as far as I can tell, mine is only on debug builds. I can run the same thing on a stock build, and I don't get it. So if you're using a stock build, then I think it's probably either different hard fault issue, or perhaps they could have the same root cause, but somehow I think the debug is in the mix on my end. Scott or anybody ever mention anything? Formatting. To dig out my S3. I think I've got an S3 EFT. I used it. Python X 37. It could be. I would try, if I were you, one thing to try would be try basically make a new CodePy that is just create a label and nothing else yet. I would try that and see if you get the hard fault. If yes, then probably it is the same root cause. But if you kind of like rename your existing code, save that elsewhere, back it up or whatever, right? And then change your CodePy to just create a label and do nothing else. And then if that succeeds and doesn't hard fault, then probably yours is a different root cause. Okay, we're gonna submit this. And then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna try on the ESP Feather TFT. So I'll just unplug the Metro, unplug the J-Link, plug in a Feather TFT. The button so it's actually plugged in. Still on main. Progressive. IDF export shell. Getting into, buddy. Using a plastic bag is the answer. Fortunately, we can only chase it down the stairs. Back. Here we're just gonna get to the bottom of the stairs and then the game won't be fun very much anymore. Humans reset it for us. Do clean. I also don't know, will we need to disable... Should probably mention that I had to disable ULab, actually. We should mention that. I think I took back out the audio ones, though. Yeah. The audio ones I did disable at one point, but we got a different error, and I took those back out and switched it to ULab only. Got too little flash on this one also. This is the error that this looks more familiar to me, though. This looks like what I normally see when we have not enough space or whatever. I guess we'll have to do this here as well. With this for a while, let's see, I've been dealing with this, well, the S2 and even the S3. Oh, CircuitPy S3 being fine is definitely odd, specific to S3. When you ran upon the same issue. It would be nice if they were all related. I do definitely still agree. Nice when you knock out one bug and it ends up fixing something else too. All right, I'm gonna set this. Should we? Let's check by because this does create labels. So if it is gonna crash, this will definitely make it crash. It's a version of Kattni's mail thing, helping with some of the interface parts, outputting stuff on the display. It does make labels. Go back to this though. I don't I didn't install this. Because this shouldn't be printing this stuff. Okay. We're gonna go back to bootloader. Boot. Oh. In the screen. Okay. Import label or label base? Label. Works fine. Oh boy. Well, okay. I think I am gonna call it a day there. So thank you everybody for hanging out in the chat. DJ Devin, Kyoshi, C Grover, I forget. M4TK again, thank you so much for the help on the debugging stuff. Gambler as well, and for working on the LED matrix pixel map stuff, I should say. Thanks to everybody for watching. I hope everybody has a good day. Paul SK as well, thanks for hanging out, watching along. Yeah, hope everyone has a good day and a good weekend, all that stuff. I will be back next time, probably sometime next week. Not sure which day, but you can follow me on all the usual places if you want the notifications for that. But otherwise, though, I will just say goodbye for now. Thanks.